Hello, Steve Pemberton here.
And Reece Shearsmith.
It's raining outside, and we're just going to go straight into this.
Straight into commentary for Cold Comfort.
So pressing play. I'm watching it on iPlayer, actually, and we're hoping it doesn't
Buffer. It'll ruin it.
The Vampire Slayer. So Dust, Inside No.9, and the programme starts now. Where are we? Twickenham.
Outside. There's you running along.
Yeah, that bag is my own bag.
Were you tired?
I've got rid of it now.
Have you?
Yeah.
Why?
I should have put it on eBay like all the other fucking props.
Yeah, and got 20 pence for them.
No, I wasn't allowed to open this door. That's
it was
why.
locked, so that just cuts. I can't see the actual screen because you're.
Oh, God.
I can now.
Okay.
Jane Horrocks.
So take us through this, Cold Comforts. We had, I think, first the idea of doing something set in a help centre.
Yeah.
Because we're not allowed to say the word Samaritans, that's why.
We can on this. This is no man's land. We can say what we like.
Okay.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
I know. Don't worry.
I wish she'd tucked that joke.
You're concerned. If you were the director on the day, you could have told the actress.
No, but I would look. I was the actor as well. I never saw it.
Yes.
Anyway,
so many things passing us by.
We've got ages. It never changes.
No, true. So yes, the idea of doing something in a call centre. You had a piece of paper with a story on it.
I'd had it, literally a yellowing piece of newspaper from 2005, and just always thought it would be a good setting for, what could be quite a creepy story. Yeah. And we discussed doing it on with this CCTV style footage. And then you said, have a look at this.
Look at this. And I showed Steve a clip from this interrogation of this serial killer, and it's online, you can go and see it. And it was just the interrogation room is laid out just like this, with not quite like this, not a booth, but it's a wide, and then down the side in 3 different shots, different versions of the same room that these 2 people are talking in, the murderer and his and this CIA man that's got him in to talk. And it was just a riveting, real-time confession of a murderer. And it was just, could that be the layout? And that was what we let.
And I think it really makes it, because if it had just been the one screen, I think it would have been very difficult to tell the full story. Although we'd have managed it somehow. But having these other ones, it puts people on edge, doesn't it?
Yeah, because if you've got a hallway in that middle one there, you just think, well, why are they showing me that? Something must be going to...
Yeah.
The people's grammar of these things like that is The Grudge and films where people are creeping along corridors. So I think you are predisposed to think they're not doing it for no reason. I'm going to be watching that side. And it starts to put you on edge. The anticipation of something happening in those smaller screens is certainly a plus point. It
was a real plus point. So obviously, top right is George's office, corridor, and bottom right is the hole. And what's great is you can see. Well, we'll get to that when we get to it.
Yes,
I was going to say you could see you.
Yes,
as Chloe.
As Chloe, yeah. Because it was I did do that, didn't it? It wasn't like we cheated that and put it on afterwards. I did the calls to you in real time. So I was speaking to you, and you answered the calls, didn't you? The elaborate nature of the rigging up of the phone, so they would ring in each other's booths, was quite complicated, wasn't it?
Alex Thompson, who's our sound recordist, did an amazing job here. He had a lot to do, whereas the DOP had fuck all to do.
Yeah, but it's interesting because it appears like it's nothing, and we chose this as an exercise in direction, thinking it would be, well, there is no direction. You're not having to move cameras. And yet, the director, John Landis, who I know very well, when I described to him that we were doing this as an idea, he said, do not do that episode, do not direct that. That is a very challenging thing. And he was right, but we did it.
We did do it.
I think he thought it was. I think being a director, and a lot of directors that we spoke to about doing this, were all nervous of the idea of so little coverage. But because we it was just our idea, and this was just where we imagined it and envisaged it. It was, well, we're going to do it. We're going to dare to be bold.
Yeah. Well, I think we do often make those decisions that, that's what we do.
Yeah.
And once we'd started, that there was no going back, really. because we didn't have any other coverage.
Yeah, I mean, some things began to be very tricky, didn't they? Like slight discrepancies between the sidebar visuals and the middle, and there is a bit of jiggery pokery with
later on in
the timings, but we can talk about that. So yes, all this meant that we had to do long takes that were all correct, didn't we?
The woman coming out of the toilet there, that was quite a quick wee she did, but I started to become obsessed with, because I think in almost every scene we wanted some movement elsewhere in the office, and because she is prime, look, there she goes, that's the third time she's crossed camera.
She always seems to leave.
She's always there. I wish just in one scene she'd stayed put.
Well, that's the director's job. We should have said, actually, you're moving back and forth too often, this is.
Yeah, true. Well, we told her to do it.
I know.
Anyway, I was going to say about the masturbating bit we've just missed in the scene before there. That is a true thing. I think people who work on these lines, and this is something we gleaned from the article, there was loads of occasions where, well, they'd sometimes leave an open line for what they call they had a word for it, but so I'm going to turn the volume down now. So that is a common thing, and it's something that people are plagued by who work on these helplines. Yeah. Can't be pleasant, and especially if they're getting off on it, so they might be talking about what you think is a genuine problem, and unbeknownst to you, they're just pleasuring themselves.
Time wasters.
Yeah.
Well, not for them.
No.
This is the one bum note in the whole thing, I think. And we had a question mark over whether it was too silly. The whole wee thing. It seems a bit sketchy to me.
Yes, I think we were just concerned it was...
Otherwise it wouldn't be funny at all, would it? It's just quite grim.
No funnies in it.
So, if you've had that thought yourselves, don't think that we didn't have it as well, because we did. Because it is quite broad humour. And it's quite a real, quite low-key...
Yes.
Tone to the whole thing.
It is.
Yeah.
Now, here we have the lovely Nikki Amuka Bird, and we wanted two characters who represented two different facets of doing this job in Joanne, who Nikki plays, and
Liz, played by Jane Horrocks.
So Joanne is very straight-laced and just, you've got to keep your distance, you've got to keep your guard up, don't let it get to you, a bit like, the advice given to Clarice Starling when she meets Hannibal Lecter. Yeah. And Liz, who thinks you should talk to people, you should share your own thoughts and your own problems.
They want advice, they don't want just a silent wall.
Yeah, so that's how we came up with these two opposing characters. Both are right, both are wrong.
Both are right, both are wrong. So yeah, exactly. But there was some, in the end, this episode came down to a lot of precise timings, isn't it? And there was a scene that we had of her before this, didn't we?
Yes.
It was cut.
Yes,
there was
obviously.
An introduction to Joanne before that first time we saw her, and in the end it didn't matter. But yeah, there was a. What was the scene? I've forgotten it. She came over.
Well, it was just a bit more on the beginning of that scene,
right?
Wasn't it?
I thought there was.
Oh no, it was the bit with Jane.
All of the bit, yeah.
So let's just talk about Jane Horrocks for a moment.
Yeah.
How funny was she?
Yeah, she was really good, wasn't she?
That is her own hair, done into a lovely sort of permy style, and we just wanted someone who could get that humour, but also, you've got to be, like Reece said, very precise with this kind of thing. The timing had to be perfect. Each take had to be roughly the same length, so we knew what we were dealing with. And she just nailed it every single time.
Yeah, she was totally on it.
She had us crying with laughter. I know quite a few of the bits at the end of a scene where she's improvising her own dialogue as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So all the stuff about Valerie, he hurt me chin and all that.
That went flat down. There's one take where it was much violent, the tussle that you'll see in a minute.
We'll get to that, won't we?
That's really funny.
So here we are now. It's sort of a bit later. There she goes again. This is the fourth time she's getting.
Well, she's going home today. You have to allow her that she can leave.
Yes, she can, but she's always the one.
I know. She's building a party.
The other people who are staffing the office,
the call centre,
were mainly three members of the sketch team, Gein's Family Gift Shop,
that we saw in Edinburgh last year,
and. They're not there now because they've left, but they did a brilliant show, and they were in the very same theatre that we did our first League of Gentlemen show.
Yeah, attic above. Was it?
It's a
tiny. It's called the Pleasance Attic.
The Pleasance Attic. It's a tiny sweatbox with 50 people, and we went to see their show. We were very impressed, and I had a drink with them after you left. Yeah. Bit rude. And
I don't want to just creep
people
back
won't,
and just
people
go,
won't be surprised.
Everyone, here I am.
Well, I do.
Yeah, I know.
And so we thought
it's more humble to leave at the end and not say anything to them than go over and have them come to you.
I'm sure they would have loved walking out into the courtyard and just seeing nobody there. You're back.
Well, they did.
Well, they did. Anyway,
they're in it, so what's the complaint?
No complaint.
I know.
We said, just to be... We didn't say come and be the extras, but it's come and be the voices.
Yeah, because there's lots of characters.
We asked them. We didn't ask them to audition or anything. We just asked them to do it.
No.
So they were very pleased, and then they offered and said, we will come and we'd love to
do you want anyone in the office? And we said, God, that's perfect, yes. So
yes.
There they were.
And so it made for a very nice, because we only had 2.5 days on this, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, that's so tight. We were allowed 3, we did it in 2.5.
And this is the longest single take in the whole thing, isn't it? The Chloe phone call.
We did, yes, and it came down to 2 performances from kind of slightly differing in your tone as far as it being... There was one... This is the more emotional one.
Is it?
Yeah.
It is. There were tiny...
Slight nuances.
Tiny gradients of...
Yeah, well, it came down to that.
Well, that's what it came... You have to choose whole takes. Normally, when you're editing, you can take the best of each take, and every time the camera cuts, obviously, you can jump between takes. This one, you have to stick with one or the other. Now, there you are in the top right-hand corner as George making the phone call. Do you want to talk about the whole Chloe business, or not? Well, we have to.
Yeah, we have to, yeah.
Because what we did, we obviously didn't want people to, in the first 2 or 3 lines of dialogue, go, all right, well, that's obviously Reece.
Yeah. I did the call.
Yeah.
Then what happened was we then got
an actress.
An actress. Well, we had a few different ones, didn't we? Because it was.
Let's name her. Vicky Hall.
Well, ultimately it was Vicky Hall, but there was a few other ones that were tested.
Yeah.
Because what they then did was do a version of me doing the Chloe voice. Then I went back in and I listened to them and
you've got it wrong. You're making it sound more complicated than it is.
No, that's what happened.
Yeah, but go on, start again.
No.
You did the dialogue.
I did the dialogue.
She copied you.
She copied me, then I copied her.
Yes, exactly.
And then a mixture of both of those voices is used as the Chloe voice.
So we had 2 amazing guys on the sound, Matt and Chris, and they spent hours literally using syllables of Reece and syllables of Vicky, and creating a voice. Obviously, for the most part, it's one or the other. But to begin with, it's lots of Vicky with syllables of you.
Slowly changing until the end is fully me.
Yeah. So it is a cheat.
You could say it was a cheat.
And we were worried about that, but it's better to be cheated than going in the first 2 minutes, well, that's obviously him, therefore you've got no tension all the way through it.
Yeah, well, it's not a cheat, though.
Well, I mean, we are manipulating...
What's a cheat? We're manipulating...
as filmmakers, are manipulating the audience.
Yeah, I mean, the out, if you wish to have one, is that you hear what he hears, and he doesn't hear George, he hears a girl.
Yeah.
He's filtered through the experience of Andy.
You could say that.
Yeah, I am.
It's still the same scene, look.
It's long, innit? How did you remember it? It's finished.
We've just missed the old lady who we called Ivy was played by the wonderful Vilma Hollingbury, who was
Mrs. Ladybirdface, or Mrs. Wren.
Mrs. Wren in Psychoville. Yeah. One of only 2 people from Psychoville we allowed to cross over into Inside No.9. Oh, 3 people, in fact.
Who are the others?
Stacey, who was in Christine,
yeah.
and Catherine Parkinson.
Oh, yes.
Who was briefly in Psychoville and very much inside East. So this scene here, we did. I mean, all the scenes we did about, I'd say 4 or 5 takes.
Yeah.
we did as many as we could get basically in the time. But there was one where you really
shoved her and pulled her, and both sides of those flaps were really knocking around. She said, "That nearly went. Are you all right, Valerie? That went flat down." It was flat down or flat over.
When you really attacked her, and this is a mild version, by the way, that we're seeing now. Yeah. When you really attacked her, did you warn her and say, "Jane, I'm going to do one now I'm going to really pull you about"?
No, I just did it. That was the real life outsider car beeping. It's not on the program.
So all of this is Jane improing.
Yeah. No, I just when she says you hurt my chin, that was real. I think.
No, because
chin was hurt.
Because it was the one after this where it was quite really violent.
Well, you know that when I get angry and you're acting with me,
you've got no control.
The actor goes, and it's just the character.
Yeah, but I think George is a frustrated little man, isn't he?
Yes, that's why I deliberately remained unshaven for George. I imagined he's like one of these, not to tie them with the same brush, but I imagined he smells vaguely of weed and he's slightly unkempt, but he's in the charitable industry.
Yeah,
that's and that's nothing against
people
in charity
who give their time.
No, not at all.
And you wanted a little earring, didn't you?
I did, yeah, but you said that tips it into something strange. I did. I saw a little tiny earring just gives you a little
I now think you were correct.
I should have been, shouldn't I? I should have had a little earring. Just a certain door is open to a single stud earring.
But we didn't want to give anything that you were thinking about, because of the whole Chloe thing. We just thought it's enough that he's slightly unshaven. And
But what's good is he's hiding in plain sight. He's had that outburst.
Yeah.
He's clearly...
She's called him a psycho.
Yeah, and it's all there for you to glean.
Now, all of the stuff on... it was Jane's idea that Liz would have all these sort of little pottery pigs and Lakeland catalogue. But they kept changing, and the cat pictures, and, they did redress the booths, didn't they?
I mean, it all helps to add to the possible conspiracy that she's making the calls, which we did want to place in there.
Absolutely. We kind of wanted at all times, as far as possible, that it could be Joanne or it could be Liz. Even though, to begin with, you're not thinking that it's anyone in the office.
You wouldn't want that.
Hopefully you're thinking it's a girl who's ringing in.
Yeah, you want that thought to occur to you when it occurs to Andy.
And we wanted that it would, as it got deeper and deeper into the story, become creepier and creepier and more... paranoid.
Or, stalkerish.
So here we have the wonderful Tony Way.
Yeah.
Coming in.
Just came in, did it, and he knew exactly what to do.
Again.
There's a lot of funny chair acting.
Yes. And great reaction shots. But all of this stuff here where we're willfully cutting people's heads off, we just loved all that, didn't we?
Yeah, no, it was a happy accident of that one positioning of that camera in that booth.
Because we spent ages sort of trying to find just the right frames, because we knew as soon as we committed to it on day one, that was it. Yeah. We were stuck with
a long time picking the location, weren't we?
Yeah.
Getting the look of an office that just looks like an office.
Well, I think this is what directors have to do.
Oh, God.
You drive around... Well,
people with
Ben,
North Face coats on.
Ben, who's our location manager, just set up loads of meetings. We went to loads of colleges here. This is the bit with the chair.
Yes, funny.
And we went to loads of places that we discounted.
Yeah, and we just thought, well, these don't look like offices. We're being presented with things that were not quite...
And we almost didn't go to this.
You just look in the middle, see George now walking along. I get my phone out, like you can see, and I make the call, and you can see me actually by the time I get to the door. I've rung, and I did really ring. This was all real time. I've rung that phone in the booth.
You devious bastard.
And I got outside of the door.
And then actually made the call.
And I stood and I had got put, and I had an earpiece in and I was speaking to you doing the dialogue.
Well, what we didn't want to do was have to recreate these phone calls in ADR, so we wanted them, in case there were overlaps or whatever the timing was, we wanted them to be real time.
Yeah.
And that's why the guys from Gein's Family Gift Shop, also, you'll see that, that the three of them made a phone call each, but whenever they're making their calls, they made them in real time. In another room in the office. We didn't want to be coming in, doing it in a studio afterwards.
Yeah.
So the top right hand where it's George's office, we should also say that we've got the little hair in there, haven't we, on George's desk?
Oh yes, there it is.
You'd have to get your magnifying glass out, but...
or if you've got big tellies, you won't. You've got to see it.
Yeah.
You must be able to see it on your telly.
I've got a big telly, but I don't think I've ever looked for it.
Right.
So Michael has come in. I love Tony's reaction.
We didn't we have a thing where we nearly put in George saying he's come from, Pauline sent him over from Wood Green.
Yes.
I think there was a bit where we were going to link it into Pauline working with him.
Yeah, but Pauline worked in Wood Green in our stage version.
Right.
On the TV, she worked in Royston Vasey. If you were lucky enough to see League of Gentlemen on the stage, you would see, hello, my name's Pauline Campbell-Jones, welcome to Wood Green Job Centre.
Yeah.
Now here we have an entire scene where everyone who speaks...
the reds are off.
The reds are cut off.
And we did director head on, Hyde... Liz, didn't you, for this reveal of...
Yeah.
Slightly helps the joke. Because, what we hope you think is happening is I've fallen on my sword and I'm saying, this is my goodbye speech, and then we reveal it to be Liz's.
To be hers. It's a shame.
Slightly harder joke that I reveal her at the end. Yes, but she doesn't want to go, of course. She's upset that the boss has managed to get rid of her, even though she's done nothing wrong.
I love that jumper she's got on. This is courtesy of our wonderful costume designer Eve Barr, who we've worked with many years.
Another triumph.
But we got all of that that wardrobe, which I think is just so spot on for that character. Again, the characters you see very fleetingly, all of these, but you read so much into them, because of what they're wearing. So what was it like directing then? This is our first experience of it.
Yeah, slightly exhausting, I found. I mean, good. I like directing the actors, but it's that thing of you didn't get a single moment piece, did you?
No.
Because once we were not in a thing, we were at the monitor looking back and answering a million other questions. Not just about this episode, but about the episode that was coming.
Well, it was the lead up to it as well. So many things you had to decide. But it was all that preparation was worth it because, very tough to get a whole episode done in 2.5 days.
Oh my God, yeah.
And we could have done it in 2 actually because we finished early on a couple of days. I mean, we're doing takes for the sake of doing takes because we had time.
Yeah. Well, it was good to have the choices ultimately, wasn't it?
So what happened as we were going along? We filmed it more or less in story order. As we were going along, Simon, who was our script supervisor, was able to tell us what our rough running time was, and it became clear as we approached the final scenes that we were going to run over.
Yeah. So we had to be. Suddenly, it was critical. Every second was counting.
Because you can't, once you're in the middle of a scene, we couldn't nip anything out of the middle of this scene, for example.
So it would be too long and there'd be no get out. So we had to be sure that we were able to snip either beginnings or ends off. And that's all you have to play with. Yeah.
So the whole, what is coming up, where Joanne comes back into the office at night time. It had the actual timing of it was so crucial.
Yeah. And the difficulty of in real time filming the supposed bits where you're in the office, fast forwarding, watching bits.
Yeah.
Because that didn't exist as a big visual in the middle screen.
We had to decide just how much of a gap to leave.
Yeah, give that 12 seconds of watching that, 30 seconds of watching that.
Yeah, because I've got to press a button for play and a button for pause.
Also look like
and then our clips had to tie up with that. So, yeah. From a technical point of view, we had to be right on top of all of that, and thankfully it worked, and we got it in time. We just had to lose one half a scene, I think, didn't we?
It wasn't too bad, was it?
But like I say, you can't edit out the middle of scenes.
Yeah. So here we are. This is the point where he thinks, "Oh my goodness, it's someone in the office." We got Liz to look to give us that suspicion.
Yes. So we've definitely been leading you towards thinking it's her.
Yeah.
There's also a couple of bits where Joanne is looking over the top of her desk, but you can't really see it. Because
yes, everything all right, Andy, and all that. Yeah, want that suspicion played in. Here it is. Like he stayed late after the party, and what we hoped here was, and they augmented it with a little bit of like extra light coming out through the door at the other end of the corridor in the middle shot, that your eye will be drawn to where we wanted you to look. So he goes into the office, but then you can see that someone is coming down the corridor. We hope you think it's the Chloe character.
Yeah.
And we keep you in suspense as far as until the character comes and answers the phone.
Yeah.
And then it sits down, it's revealed to be Joanne, and you think, is she Chloe? Which is what we want.
Yeah, exactly.
But there was a bit where they had to slow down her walk so it fitted into when she came in the office. There was something going on, wasn't there, with slightly slowing down or speeding up, or it's freeze framing at one point.
Yes.
The bit of you two watching the screen.
There's a bit that's really slowed down and freeze framed. You wouldn't notice it, but it's because it's to fit in, like we said earlier, with the clips that we'd chosen to play back.
Yeah.
They needed to be of a certain length. It was a bloody nightmare.
It's so complicated. It looks like nothing to watch. But I suppose that's the...
But I think people appreciated the difference in this episode. We had a lot of... I was very nervous about this one going out, especially after the first three being so strong, because I thought, is this going to be the dud?
Yeah, well, there's always... depends where you look. There's fucking 6 of them if you look some places.
Because it is so static, and it is. But we had a brilliant response for this episode, and I was blown away that people had found it so gripping, because there is nowhere,
I know, yeah. No, it was well received. I think because the ending had a good surprise ending as well. Hated by some people. Where's he got a gun from? Yeah, they mentioned that he was a squaddy. It's like, well, yeah.
Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Reece is gone. So I want to just finish. Anyway, we'll sort it out. So George here, Reece did an especially creepy rendition of George. This was filmed separately to the... oh, he's ringing me. Oh, I'm not answering. This was filmed separately to the rest of the shot where we saw, the wide in George's office. We couldn't have a camera there, obviously, because you would have seen it. And then there on the middle right, you see the real George appearing. And this was done with no sound at all. Again, it was a decision we took that we could hold just with, this. I mean, no dialogue. I mean, we've got the sound of what Christian Jensen, our brilliant composer, came up with, but there's no actual dialogue. Okay, so the final scene. This is Glenn, the replacement. Hopefully people are thinking, yeah, okay, Liz has left, they've got someone new coming in, you don't question it. And Nikki and I are having this conversation. She was so brilliant to work with, I have to say. I wanted to work with her for quite a while. And she was in a play with Julie Hesmondhalgh when we asked her to do it, so they were both very pleased that they were in different episodes. So we had a big debate about the ending because, oh, here she goes again, our lady crossing, getting a bit more screen time. We had a big debate about the very end because we did end with a gunshot. The guy did fire a blank, and you saw the cartridge fly out, and we wanted to go immediately from the gunshot to the track, and then we tried it. I think it was John Plowman's suggestion, our executive producer. He said, let's just try going straight to the music before we hear the shot, and it worked so much better. Reece was very unhappy about it, as he sometimes is, but then he had to admit, actually, when we saw it back, because that song comes in with such a punch. Anyway, there we go. Like I say, I'm really thrilled with how this one was received. It was brilliant to finally direct something. It was, a tall order to do it in 3 days, but I was thrilled with how it was received. Hopefully we'll bring you the next episode soon, and I'll try and persuade Reece to do that one as well. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Bye.